Spanish it's Julio, but I'm half
Julio.
Italian. I'm half Italian, so that's Julio.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Okay, no wonder Coach Steve loves you. He's also Italian. Did you know that?
Pardon?
Coach Steve Buzzer. You know, he's
Yeah.
Italian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that. Never knew that.
Yeah. We do not mess with that guy, no.
Oh no, that's where I was looking to come to when things were going really bad for me at this side,
Yeah. And two questions.
Mm.
This side and things going bad.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you said things were when things are not going good for you, that side. Where are you?
I'm currently in the UK right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the UK, and when things were going bad, basically I was in prison. My last sentence, I've been to prison 4 times. I can't remember now. So I've spent at least a minimum, more than 5 years in prison in my lifetime.
Whoa.
Yes, so that's
What's it like?
it was it. You know what? Boarding school in Zimbabwe is worse than prison over here.
I've
Serious.
never been to boarding school here, but I've heard.
Yeah, you've never been to boarding school.
No, thank goodness.
They wanted me to go to Plumtree. I said no.
Oh, yeah. After Bulawayo there.
Yeah, but instead they sent me to Mzinyatini, Escotini, in the Matebele land.
I see. Are you originally from Matebeleland or
I was born in Wange.
Wange? Oh, dude, that's a hot area there.
Yes. So that's my roots. Zimbabwe is my roots. I went to St. Martin's School in Zimbabwe, in Harare.
Yes, St. Martin. Yes. I know where that is. Trying to visualize it.
It's a Coventry school.
I know St. Martin. I'm just trying to locate it in my mind.
I can't remember where it is. Where it is.
That's fine. I'm sure it'll come back.
Yes, Lewis Mataya. I'm so honored to have you as a guest on the podcast today, my bro. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Because I've been following you on Facebook for some time now. I've been following you, and I like your story. And just recently, I just feel like you're coming out of your shell and speaking your truth instead of being a people pleaser and Mr. Nice Guy, because Mr. Nice Guy doesn't get you nowhere, does it?
Oh, Mr. Nice Guy does get you somewhere. Gets you in prison. For me, gets you jumped in Zimbabwe, where you have to. It gets you to rock bottom, Mr. Nice Guy.
In what sort of sense, though? Obviously, your story is different. Everybody's got a different story, but how does Mr. Nice Guy get you down in places like that, though?
Julio, me as a person, my name is Louis Mataya, son of Ephraim Mataya and Lucia Zitiro. I am me, right, as a person. I was born where I was born. I chose a path that I want to follow in my life. I've experienced what I've experienced. I am me. So who knows me best than me?
Of course,
No
it's
one.
you. No one else apart from you.
Exactly. So when it comes to certain decisions, no one should make those decisions for me except me, because I know what I want.
And what is it that you want, Lewis?
For me, I want success in my life, Julio. And success for me is seeing my vision come to fruition, the vision that I've had for years. And my vision is to create a legacy, create in my family generational wealth, financial wealth, and wealth in here. That is my goal, you know.
So when you say,
As we,
sorry
yes.
to cut you
Sorry,
off,
go ahead.
when you say in here, some listeners don't get to watch it; they listen. So when you say in here, you mean?
Okay.
Mm.
Sorry. I'm gonna speak more with my words, not just with my gestures. That's okay. It's okay. Wealth, mental wealth,
Yes.
and to someone who stays in the UK, who stays in America, they might not know what I mean. And frankly, people who stay even here in Zimbabwe, they do not know what I mean. Do you know that I'm 26 and I've used the black and white TV. I've used the VCR. I've used the DVDs. Some people my age have never used those. You know that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm.
Some people my age have never used black and white TV. You know, the one with the big booty, the TV. You know that?
Yeah, the old school TVs, the really heavy, heavy ones.
The really, really heavy TVs. Some
Mm.
people have never used those. Why am I bringing this up? Where you are in the UK, in the States, a person who has used those TV, they were born in a different generation. They've seen a different lifestyle. You know, they probably grew up in the time where people woke up and yell at the neighbors, "Good morning, my neighbors." But now we don't have that. That-
Mm.
so I'm saying that because for me, I grew up across different lifestyles, different economies, different, sort of like you could say different generations, really, because I was born in the rural areas. You know, Kumusha in
Kumusha.
Zimbabwe.
Mm.
Kumusha, yes,
Of
the
course.
roots,
Mm.
the root, the origin, where all this town life originated, where people are still rooted. I was born there, and when you're there, you don't really have any ambitions in life. All you want is to wake up, go work in the field, maybe go to the farm, knowing that a few years from now you're gonna get married, have kids, and grow old. Then your kids will have kids, and a very simple life. I was pulled out of that by life, and I was brought to a little bit, in town where things are not as easy. They're not as easy. You have to get good grades. It's not just about going to school anymore. It's about getting good grades and getting a good job and living an okay life. I've lived through that, and then I went to Cape Town. Cape Town is like living in the UK, according to those who've been to the UK or the States. It's pretty advanced and up there and all that. Now things become a bit more materialistic, like instead of just getting a job, you want to seek maybe an entrepreneurial career or something. You instead of driving a car, here if you buy a car, you've succeeded. In Cape Town, you want to buy a nice car, a Porsche, a fancy VW and stuff like that. For me, that's big. Having gone through those different stages in life, that's big. That's really, really big in shaping me, Lewis, and identifying what I want in my life. And I realized I don't really want fancy stuff. I don't really want to survive. I want to I want to be happy by making my desires come to life. And then I'll retire and go back to the life where I started, knowing I've got $1 million in my bank account, then I stay in Kumusha, in the raw areas there. Because I know maybe my kids want to go to Harvard University. They want to go somewhere. I want to say, okay, do whatever you want. You want this? Okay, fine, get it. You want that? Get it. That's what I want. For me personally, that's what I want. And I want my people, my nation, my family to have better lives as well through me. That's my goal. What I want is a very basic lifestyle. My dream car is a Toyota Hilux, something very simple, not the Lamborghinis or stuff. No, that's not me. Man, I talked a lot.
No, that's great. That's great. You've got a lot of driving force, motivation behind you, which I love to hear. That I'm really inspired by guys like yourself who are really passionate about where they're going, your sense of identity. You know what you want in life. For people that don't know you, Lewis, give us an insight to what you're doing and where you're going, what you're striving for, and what would it mean? Like, what would you do to in order to, or what you need to do in order to achieve the success that you want? Because what I'm getting as well is that you've come from humble beginnings. Let's put it that way. It's humble beginnings, and you know you want that freedom, financial freedom, to be able to express yourself without any limiting situations, because finances is what limits us from really truly expressing who we truly are, in this
Yes.
day and age. That's unfortunate. So give us some insight to where you're going and what you're doing in your life.
Sure. So, currently, I am running a gym, a mixed martial arts gym in Zimbabwe, in Harare. So that is what pays my bills. That is what keeps me financially going. As I run that gym, for me, it feels like it's a part-time job. Full-time is training. Full-time is learning. In that gym, like I said, it's a profit gym, which I use to pay my rent and buy food. I also train a few young guys. In 2022, I won the African Championships. I was the only person from Zimbabwe who was representing our nation at the EFC Performance Institute in Johannesburg.
I watched that.
I made a promise to everyone who was at that tournament that today, on this day, it is me alone, who is representing Zimbabwe. But I'm coming back. We are coming back. And there's going to be more of me. There's going to be a few more guys, young guys, who are angry at life, who are aggressive at life, in wanting it to give us what we want. I promise that. And I spent the past year and a half pursuing that, training young guys. We train every day, 4 hours a day, sometimes 6 hours a day, preparing for MMA competitions. So that is what I do. That is who I am. I am a young man who runs a gym and who trains young guys. Where am I going? So these guys, of course, they have their own ambitions, and their first ambition is to get to where I am. When they get to where I am, then what? So I need to give them more. They aim to get where I am. I aim to get further, and the further for me is winning a world title next. That is my ambition. and that is what will happen.
Hallelujah. I have got you saved on my phone as Lewis Mataya, the world champion, MMA, mixed martial arts world champion. I have seen you in action, and you've got that driving force. And you, I see you love what you do. It's all a game to you. For even from moments where you're having a conversation or disagreement with somebody, your friend in your car, you're like, let's stop the car, let's settle this in a friendly way, obviously. You just pull up on the side of the road, tarmac, there's no mats, and you're wrestling. And you're wrestling.
I had the location. if those guys are, because I'm a very playful person. Like I really love playing with the guys that I train. I consider them my young brothers. So we play a lot, and our play, like we have time where we train and we're serious, and sometimes it's playful stuff, because life is stressful as it is already. You need to laugh, you need to enjoy. When we message each other, swearing at each other on the phone a bit, I end up saying, "Send location." Khabib quoting Khabib. And if if they make a mistake of making maybe a funny statement, that day was Tony made a statement about my calves, because I've got these massive calves, and he always
Okay.
makes fun of me for that. It's uncommon for a Zimbabwean to have such calves. Most of us, because we work too much, as you know, we end up getting skinny, especially in the legs. So he was making fun of my calves. Can you see me?
Yes, I've still got you. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jump in my car and finish this in the car and plug this thing on charge. Did not notice the battery was low. Sorry.
No problem, Lewis. No
Sorry.
problem.
So as I was saying, whenever these guys mess with me and I'm nearby, I immediately jump on them and I start those fights. It's me almost all the time. I'm the guilty one.
But it's all playful. It's all character
Fine.
building, and it's all part of the training to be always ready at any time,
Yeah.
because you never know what life can throw at you. And also doing mixed martial arts and training like that also prepares you for other daily stuff that happens in life. Just to be prepared. Yeah.
I agree.
So Lewis, what
Yeah.
what made you? When did you go to South Africa, and what led you to South Africa and the gym that you train at? Because I'm aware you train on the SPG. I also train. I did. I still do. That SPGs one vibe, one tribe. They're always going to be my
Yeah.
tribe. So
Oh,
what
yeah.
led you there?
Sorry, which gym are you at? In
I
which
was
SPG? Which
SPG
SPG were you at?
Manchester. SPG Manchester.
Manchester.
Yes,
Who's the coach of SPG Manchester?
so the head coach, who used to be Carl Tanswell, God rest his soul, is passed away.
Oh, sorry about that.
And now it's Matt Inman, who's the UK president of SBG. We've got Jordan Desborough, who's now the head coach of SBG Manchester in Manchester.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Nice. I've heard of Mark from Coach Steve.
You've heard of? You mean Carl?
Carl, sorry.
Carl.
Carl.
Mm.
I've heard of him from Coach Steve. Yes, so my journey to South Africa, I trained Taekwondo in the Air Force of Zimbabwe here. And
Oh.
yeah, I was I was a civilian because I was staying with my sister in the Air Force of Zim. And I started training with soldiers, They were doing their training as part of their military training. I was training because I loved it. I enjoyed it. They would allow civilians sometimes But most people would quit because, you're training with soldiers. It's not easy training. So I kept with it, stuck it out, and I got to a level in Taekwondo where I became the national champion. I won championships in the Southern African region, and it became boring because there was no future for me. There was no professional league. There was no, it didn't feel real. Like, I would go to karate tournaments, kickboxing tournaments, and my taekwondo would work to a degree, and it became limited for me. So I thought, nah, I need something else. That's when I moved to South Africa. My brother said, come to South Africa. We've got mixed martial arts here. You can start training. I know gyms that are nearby. And I said, yeah, I'm coming there. And that's when I went there and started training. I just popped up at Coach Steve's door and said, hey, I want to fight MMA. And he said, you cannot fight. So I said, no, I can fight. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I can fight. Yeah, how that ended, man. That's not pretty. It's not pretty for me to talk.
Please share the story. We love stories like this where you come and you're hyped up and you get humbled a little bit. We're in a big world out here.
I was humbled. I was in the most embarrassing way. So I showed up at his gym and he said, okay, fine, come through. It was on a Friday. He said, come through on Tuesday. I came through on Tuesday for the fundamentals class. Showed up at his door and he said, okay, join the class. It was a jiu-jitsu class and I found it so boring. He could see that I did not want to be there. I wanted to do something else, You used to doing flying kicks and these jumping kicks, flips and everything. Then you suddenly are asked to lie on your back and move your legs, and I did not enjoy that, After about a week, I said, and after a week, I was doing 2 sessions a week. After 1 week, I said, hey, coach, I think I'm ready to fight. After 1 week of doing jiu-jitsu. And he said, no, you're not. I insisted, and he said, okay, fine. He called Steve. Steve was around my weight, a bit heavy. And he said, hey, Steve, I have a role with Lewis. So I said, yeah, I'm stronger than him. I can take him. He took me down, passed my guard, and had me in side control. I thought, this is not too bad. I'm going to push him off, try to push him off. You know how it is with jiu-jitsu.
especially
Suffocating
as a new white belt, yeah. Overstretching. But anyway, carry on. I'll push him up.
And Steve is a pressure player. Like the Steve that he made me go up against. He uses a lot of pressure. So he put pressure on me, went into side control. I couldn't understand what is happening. How am I not able to get up? He went into mount, and I started hyperventilating. And until Coach Steve had to tap, and he came to me, he said, you see, you cannot fight. You couldn't even get out of side control, so you cannot fight. What's worse, he just pinned you down. He wasn't hitting you, nothing. He just held you down, and you'd have lost a fight. And from that day onwards, I asked if I could go 3 times a week, later on going towards 10 times a week, 10 sessions a week, sometimes 11. Because I knew I want to learn this. I never, ever want to get stuck again. That was the strategy. So from being a Taekwondo black belt, Coach Steve He did not put me in the ring for a year. I trained jiu-jitsu and did jiu-jitsu competitions for a year straight. That's what happened in Cape Town. Of course, after a year, he gave me my first fight, and man, that combination of taekwondo and then Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I ran over the competition there in Cape Town to an extent where after only 2 fights, they gave me a title shot at a local promotion there, and I manhandled everyone, even a title defense. Manhandled the guy, hit him clean on the chin, knocked him out. Yeah, that's the story in short, like a summarized version.
Yeah, that like you said, the combination of taekwondo and jiu-jitsu, and yeah,
Mm,
I see how dynamic you are when you're in the ring and when you're in the cage. All these crazy flying kicks. You're just having so much fun in there. You're amazing to watch. Um,
thank you,
so so
sir.
what happened to coming? Why did you leave South Africa? Did you go back because of well, what made you go back home?
Well, a similar story to yours, really. I'm not sure how yours went, but after my 4 fights and my 2 title fights, I went for the African Championships in May 2022. I fought, I won, and in August I was gonna go for a fight in Zambia.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. So my when I wanted to compete at the African Championships, I thought I was misinformed. Like someone gave me wrong advice, and that led me to an agent who was supposed to assist me with getting my South African work visa. I'm not gonna mention the person's name because it's a person who's close, and I don't want them to feel bad about it. You know, it happened. It's in the past. So once I got that visa, the agent assisted me with the visa because he said he worked at Home Affairs, he could assist, and then he assisted me. I got the visa, participated at the African Championships, and in August, on my way to Lusaka, at the airport, the immigration officer who was there checking passports, you know, for international travel and all that, said, "Buti, where did you get this permit? It is a fraudulent permit and you are in big trouble."
Oof.
So she took me to immigration police and they said, "Dude, you're under arrest." And yeah, went through the legal process, was taken to court with those South Africans. Man, they really do not like foreigners,
Zimbabweans.
especially Zimbabweans. Man, we are hated there in South Africa. I'm sure you know. The
That's
trial,
why a lot of Zimbabweans, when they go to South Africa, they don't like to tell them where they're from. They don't like to say that they're
yes,
from Zimbabwe. It's a shame,
yes,
but yeah.
yes, because they really despise us. Understandably, there's too many of us, too many Zimbabweans in South Africa.
Mm.
So once I was taken to court, and that's when I saw how unfair the system is. The hearing lasted for 20 seconds, and I
Mm.
was found guilty and charged.
So basically, they just looked at the evidence, not knowing that you were actually a victim of being fraud. You know, of fraud. You are the
Yeah.
victim.
Yes. Yes.
There was no compassion in the way they handled that case. But how do you feel
Yep.
about it?
It's upsetting. It really is upsetting because had that not happened, had that gone differently,
Mm.
I would have been somewhere else in my career right now. I would have been fighting professionally somewhere. I would have won a world title somewhere. I know I would have done it. because I would have had my team, my coach, my training partners there. I would have had all those. But it all got lost. So that really is upsetting for me. At the same time, I also have to look at the positive side. From there, from there, once I was deported, because they gave me a hearing, and I was asked to pay a fine of 10,000 rands, and yeah, so the whole process, including being taken to prison. So while I get the money and all that, once I got deported to Zimbabwe, not gonna lie to you, Julio, I was angry, and an angry Lewis is a very scary person. I'm being honest. It scares me as well, because the depths which I'll go to get what I want. Sometimes I'm scared myself. The things I do. Fortunately, I have one rule: do whatever it takes, but don't hurt anyone. Don't hurt anyone. And recently, because of being in Zimbabwe, I learned that don't let anyone hurt you. As in, don't let anyone hurt Lewis. You know, don't hurt anyone. Don't let anyone hurt Lewis. So that was something I learned when I came here to Zimbabwe. I had been in South Africa for 4.5 years in a foreign land. Of course, you tend to fit in and behave in a way that is acceptable in the area. When I came to Zimbabwe, I realized I've got so much more potential because I built myself from rock bottom. I had absolutely nothing. When I left, I was staying in my friend's storage room in the back of his house. I was sleeping on he gave me 2 cushions from his couches, gave me 2 cushions, one sheet and 1 blanket. That's where I was sleeping, on the floor with those 2 cushions. My first step was to make sure I have a place to cook. So I had to. The guy, luckily, I trained him and he gave me a few bucks. With that money, I would invest a little, buy a stove, a gas stove, because it's Zimbabwe with load shedding about 12 hours a day. Buy a gas stove, buy pots to cook in, a bit of plates, spoon. And then later on, bought a bed, bought a portable wardrobe. That was it for my place to stay. That was it. And then I slowly started to invest in a gym. Slowly. Because I knew if I'm here, I need to carry on training. I need to make sure I move forward. What happened. I was depressed at the time. I was crying myself to sleep. I was angry all the time during the day, but I still had to work. I still had to build myself up. So I started, slowly training people. Like if a person says, "Hey, I want to train with you. You're the African champion." "Yeah, sure, I want to train with you." "Oh, I'll give you this amount." "Fine." When that amount comes, I would buy a pair of pads. I would buy two mats. I would buy this and that. And later on, I realized this is not getting me anywhere, really. It's too slow. So I decided to invest all that money into researching how to make punching bags, because I knew I need equipment if I'm going to start a gym. So I did it. I now have a formula. I did it.
Yeah.
Took a lot of money and time and energy, but I did it. I now make my own punching bags, ground and pound bags, upright bags, the brackets to hang the bags on. I hang the bags myself. I decided to invest in how to make shin pads because I needed my training partners, my students, to be safe. I did it. And now I have the formula. I'm making my own shin pads. I decided to get a bigger space. I got it. So just now there is a place to train. Now there is hope for me, because at some point I had to say, if you're gonna cry, if you're gonna get angry, do it. But you also have to make sure you get back on the horse. So I found my power when I was kicked out of Zimbabwe. I found
Kicked out
me.
of South Africa.
Sorry, from South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Yes, sorry. I found a lot of power that resides in me. And that showed me that I can do anything. And now, with that power, I want to take over the world.
Blessings, man. That is so inspirational. And I was just gonna actually say, you know, I think, me personally, nothing happens in life just by chance or coincidence. There's a big and greater purpose in this life. From the time you went to South Africa and you wanted to fight straight away, you got humbled. You got told, no, wait, don't run before you can walk. Now for
Yes.
you going to Lusaka, and then all of a sudden somebody's giving you fake documents, and maybe again it's the universe's way of telling you, don't run before you can work. You need to solidify your foundation within. Find your inner
Yes.
strength.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
the world champion title belt. I can already see around around your waist, Lewis. Seriously, the way the drive that you have, the way you're so inspirational, the way we've never met in person. This is our first time speaking properly, and I've sensed that from the moments that I was following you and seeing how passionate you are, the way you speak, and you've got it all to come. You're still very young as well, and I believe, just my I'm gonna pass judgment based on what I'm hearing. I think for you to have this gym and do what you're doing, you're also giving back to the community. You're giving back to your home, to Zimbabwe, and for you to be able to be coaching as well. There's what you call a plus minus equals. It's a theory which I learned from chess. So your plus means that you need to be surrounding yourself with people who are better than you, competing against people like black belts all the time. Your minus, you need to be able to, is your teaching. You need to be able to, what you learn from the black belts, from people that are better than you. You need to be able to understand that information so that you can teach it to your people, to your
Yes.
youngers. Because if you can't teach it to your youngers, then something in your knowledge is amiss. So you need to go back to studying with the greats again, and then your equals is your competition, where you get to test or what you do. So that plus minus equal seems like you're getting the whole full package for your foundation, for your career. Because in order to understand your craft properly, you also should be able to teach it. And
Yes.
the steps you're taking to get where you are, I'm hoping that as well, from coming on this platform, people will be able to back you and as well support you by buying your products, by buying your bags, because I've seen them. They're good quality bags. You were buying bags before, after a month later, after hitting the bags are broken. They're fucked, so
Yes.
to
Yes.
speak. So you've not played the victim card here. Of course, we're human. We have to go through these emotions and feel that anger, but again, it's that fire that builds up inside with that driving force to
Oh
give
yeah.
you, to make you find your true identity and give you more of a purpose in life, which is what I wanted to ask you. We'll get to it anyway, but you're finding your feet, you're finding your purpose. I'm so inspired to hearing this, and I hope people, when they watch this, they can go to your Instagram, have a look at all the bags that you're making, the shin pads, because here in the UK and in America and stuff, that people still order from third world countries like Asia, Pakistan, for good quality material, things that will last them a long time, rather than for profit, where the bags break and just
Mm.
disintegrate so quickly.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I hope lots of opportunities come from this as well, because moving away from South Africa, maybe you were a bit, because you were talking about the people. I remember you saying that there's people that you've fought already. They're now headlining shows. They're all pro.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
don't compare yourself to them. Embrace your own journey, because the more you know if the people that blossom too quickly, it's like a tree. The plants,
the
the
burnout.
flower, the flowers that are right at the top, they're the first ones to fall, and those ones that are right at the bottom, which are getting covered by all the leaves, they take time. And then when they
Yes.
blossom, they're probably the last to fall. So in your own time, you will get there. And I'm so inspired, and I love your story and the direction where you're going. So I would just say, keep doing what you're doing. Maybe you can get some SBG black belts to actually come to Zimbabwe, and then you can open an affiliation in Zimbabwe.
Oh, that would be epic.
Mm.
That, trust me, if I could get coaches to come here and coach and teach me, so I don't have to travel to other places, I would do it. I love it here. As
Zim-
Zimbabwe as a person, I love it.
Zimbabwe is a nice place. I'm so hoping that people who hear this will come and take a trip to Zimbabwe to enjoy the beautifulness of what Zimbabwe has to offer. And the sky's the limit. Not even the sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. To infinity and
Oh
beyond, like what Buzz Lightyear
yeah.
says.
Amen. So I know how to get them here. I'm gonna go to the African Championships with a bunch of guys there and beat up people, beat them up, take all the gold medals, bring them here. Then you see people will start recognizing that, oh, there's MMA in Zimbabwe.
Mm.
Let's go over there, start a gym, do this, do that, you know.
Mm.
And that's the other thing. To people out there who want to do MMA, or who might want to do MMA in Zimbabwe, there is no competition here. It is the best market. If you're a coach
Mm.
or a promoter, there is no competition. And imagine having a business, Julio, that you provide and that has no competition. Imagine that. How many gyms are in Cape Town? How many MMA Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms are in the UK?
They're saturated. They're everywhere. Maybe
You see,
five every corner you go to or something.
you see.
Mm.
And here in the whole country, places that really know MMA, there's only two. There's only two places. One place is by Jeremy, who is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and an ex-collegiate wrestler in the States. He recently relocated here because
Mm.
of work. And the other guy is Tim. They work together. Tim is he's blue belt level, trained in the Netherlands when he was in university. And now he's back here home at Zimbabwe. He works as a physiotherapist, but
Mm.
he and Jeremy came together and got a place where they do their jiu-jitsu, mainly jiu-jitsu and judo. So you see, these are the only places. And of course, my gym.
Mm.
For athletes, it's not the best of conditions because you do need people to push you. But if you're a coach or a businessman who engages in any form of MMA business, this territory, dude, is rich with potential for business, for
Yeah.
MMA business.
Yeah, I totally understand. And I've always wondered myself whether there's going to be anything like that in Zimbabwe, because I've also known that there's so much potential with the guys there,
Mm,
guys that want to
mm.
thrive, because it's a bit unfortunate how the political state has been in
Oh
some
yeah,
in some situations, in some times, should I say. And
oh yeah,
it's made people humble and hungry as well at the same time.
oh yeah,
Mm.
oh yeah. You know how I deal with that, the government stuff.
Mm.
I embrace my inner Dana White. I do not want the government meddling in my business. That's it. Whether the government is doing well or not doing well, that's none of my business.
Of course.
The economy is struggling. The economy is struggling. There's no money circulating here. But I'm grateful that the government doesn't knock on my door and irritate me. So I'm fine. I am fine as it is. And the second one is there's a lot of poverty around here, as you know, in Zimbabwe. Lots of guys that have nothing to do. I do not know the exact stats, but unemployment in Zimbabwe is over, is it 80 or 90%? I
Yeah,
think it's 80 or 90%.
it's very high. Yes, it's very high.
Very, very high. So last year, I thought I only had 2 people that I had been training to be my students, not the whole make money stuff, because those are 2 different people. The person you train for money and the person you train because they want to be an athlete. So last year I had an idea towards the end of the year. I thought I'm gonna take 10 guys under my tutelage, 10 guys, and teach them all that I know about MMA in an intensive program for 3 months where they train 4 hours a day for 3 days a week, sometimes 4. I did that. I trained them. I trained them in taekwondo, boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. The criteria for the selection criteria for these guys was that the person I'm choosing must not be enrolled in any form of educational system, must not be employed anywhere. It has to be a person who does not work, is not at school. That's the person that I want. And I got those 10 guys. 3 of them dropped out of the program. And now I have 7. 1 recently joined the program. And those guys, they wake up, they do not go to work, they do not do anything. All they do is come to the gym for training. And trust me, in that short space of time, I've seen those guys grow. It's unbelievable the amount of growth they've had. And I'm telling you, you're going to see those guys at the African Championships and they are going to dominate. That's a promise. So that's one thing, that one good thing that came out of the situation, the economy in Zimbabwe. Not being employed, not going to school. It means you have time. Worse if you have the energy and the willingness to get hit in the face and keep walking forward. That's a world champion right there. What else do you need? So that's what I've been. What else? The other thing I've been up to as well, Julio. Julio
Piero Danilo Calcina. That's my full name.
What?
Yeah, Julio Piero Danilo Calcina.
I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to bite my tongue. No.
Giulio Piero Danilo Calcina.
Giulio Piero Danilo
Calcina. Yes.
Calcina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to get called Tembelise. That was supposed to be my original name, Tembelise. My little brother was supposed to be called Manza.
Mandla.
But
You're
it's called
Ndebele, right?
Yeah, I'm Ndebele, yeah.
Okay, nice, man. Funny, you're one of the kindest Ndebele people I've met. Normally, Ndebele people they are on fire. Those guys. I think it's the Zulu genes that run in them. You know?
Yeah, of course. That fighter warrior spirit within us to keep pushing forward.
Yeah. I do have a bit of the Ndebele genes in me. My My father, remember a few days ago, we are going to do the podcast on Monday or so, but I said I need to have a chat with my brother first about my heritage.
Yes.
So it's quite interesting. That's when I found out that, yes, I do have a bit of the Ndebele Zulu genes in me, hence the aggression I sometimes show. No, but
Hey,
I've seen it. I've seen it. The Zulu, the Ndebele, those guys, they've got a very short temper. It's a very short fuse.
yeah, I've been working on my temper, my short, because I'm also a very short guy. So, and it also runs in the family, being short tempered. I've been working on it for a lifetime. And I must say, they say if you want to master your reality, you need to master your emotions.
Whatever angers you has power over you.
Yeah, you need to reclaim that power back and take control. You don't let anything control
Yeah.
you. You are in control of everything.
Easy to say, right? It's super easy to say.
Easy to say, but it takes practice on a daily basis. I've been practicing. I read a lot of philosophy and I've been having all these epiphanies and I've been studying it for over 10, 12 years and still practicing it on a daily basis. It's okay to fall off sometimes, but you pick yourself back up, just like how you pick yourself back up. It's okay to be human and cry every now and then, but you have to pick yourself
Right.
back up. Lewis,
Yes.
what's going on in my mind here is, I'm gonna talk a little bit of what my coach, my old coach, had said, Carl Tanswell. We were in the gym, and he said, sometimes this fighting game is not for everyone.
Oh yeah.
You may come into the gym, you train, and it can give you a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, be part of a tribe, a community.
Yes.
It will help enhance your life. Give training definitely enhances your life, and we don't. You can try to be a fighter. You may not be, but you need to be happy with what you're blessed with. And
Yes.
have you ever thought maybe your purpose is what you're doing now and giving a platform to people and you're coaching people? And I know you want to be there. You want to be a fighter as well. And
I
hey,
I have, and that upsets me. That really angers me.
okay.
That it does. You know what? You're the second person who's verbalized that. The first person was Coach Steve.
And
You know,
I'm getting this. Sorry, I'm getting this from Carl Tanswell, who's also my coach, and they're both SBG black belts.
those SPG guys. Come on, how come? I know what they want.
Oh, I've lost you for a second. Ah, okay. Yeah. So as you were saying, the SPG guys, I'll let you finish.
They only want one Conor McGregor. Like, why not create a billion Conor McGregors?
Well, the
Nah, I'm
thing is,
kidding.
the good thing about SPG is they teach you the fundamentals, and it's up to, it's how you want to express your character, your personality, and it comes out in your game. Every SPG
Mm.
black belt, they've been taught all the same things, but they all have different games. So yeah, there's
Yes,
always going to be one of you, one unique individual Conor McGregor,
only one.
one unique
And that
individual Lewis Mataya.
and that's what Coach Steve always said. He always said to me, "There's only one Conor McGregor, and you cannot be Conor. You cannot be Conor McGregor." Now, why am I bringing this up? Coach Steve, from the moment he started training me, he did not want me to be a fighter. That's what a lot of people don't realize. When Coach Steve trained me, he did not want me to be a fighter. He wanted me to know martial arts.
Hmm.
I'm sure you know how that's how it is with all SPG guys worldwide. some people, yes, some gyms, they do have specialized MMA fighters, but you still have to come to the class for the basics. You still have to do the
You have to.
one-on-one class. You
Yeah,
have to.
of course.
But Steve, the first, and I remember at some point he said to me, you can live a fairly comfortable life as a coach. You don't have to do all this fighting. No, he said you don't have to rely on fighting, because fighters, unless they make it to the top, fighters are some of the most broke humans on the planet.
Of course.
Because you have to sacrifice everything to train, all your energy, all your time to training. The second you try and get a job, you now take away time from training, so you don't make money. So he has always wanted me to know martial arts so I can coach and then compete while I build myself up to the top. That has always been his plan. But what you said now, that my purpose might be to coach, to run a gym. I think about that sometimes. Like, I could quit on my on this whole competing thing. I could. And the mind that I have, I'm human. Getting hit, punched in the face hurts. But I go in the cage anyway and I fight. Why? Because I want to create something. There's a vision that I have. And then a part of me comes and says, Lewis, you're a smart person. You are able to do these businesses, run your gym, make your punching bags, train people, manage the fighters that you train. Because the guys that I'm training now, they now give me a hard time, whether in striking or on the ground. If you see me right now, if I get out the car and start walking, I'm limping right now from what happened at the gym. One of the guys, I kicked him, and he was kicking me back. I was kicking him hard because he was kicking me hard, and we just kept going. He did not stop. He did not stop. I'm kicking him because I want to get him to drop and stop hitting me, and he kept hitting me back. Like, I'm not gonna drop. I'm not gonna quit first. You should quit. So I ended up kicking his elbow, and that's how the drill ended. If that didn't happen, that was around 10 a.m. Now it's what? Close to 1 o'clock. We would still be kicking each other right now if that did not happen. And that's the mindset some of these guys have. I trained them to that level. And I do have an ability to teach that I'm aware of. I can make good money from teaching. More importantly, the business side. Like right now, I've got so many business ideas that I have to hold back because my time is limited. I'm gonna hold them back for a few years. I've got about a good 9 years, 10 years of competing. 10 years of competing. So I'm holding back some of my business ideas for that long. The ones that I do are the ones that I can do while I run the gym full time and train as an athlete. So I do think about that. I do think about how I have the potential to do anything. So why choose fighting? And then again, I realized that I have everything that I have now, even the mind that I have now, because of fighting. So I want to see where it gets me. When I'm done with fighting, then I'll pursue all these other things. And not to mention, as I fight, I travel, right? I travel. Like in May, we're traveling to Namibia to fight at the African Championships. I've been to South Africa. Someday I will travel to Europe and the States. I've learned so much from traveling. I've learned so much on how to do business from traveling. So these next 10 years for me, like I said, I want to be rich in my mind. And each time I travel to go and fight, I'm going to go there, I'm going to fight, and I will be keeping an eye out on opportunities for when I'm done fighting. So the fighting is going to carry on. all these other things, I'll pursue them relentlessly in 10 years from now.
Yeah, you've got an open mind, an open heart, open to all opportunities coming your way. But
Oh yeah.
I was just asking as a question whether you just considered it, but I hope.
I'm
No, I hope.
really angry at you. I'm angry at you for asking that. I was angry at Coach Steve for years for asking for telling me that.
Yeah.
And then
So yeah.
it turns out you guys are right. You know? And nothing hurts more than the truth. The truth hurts. The
Yeah.
truth when you don't want to hear it.
I wouldn't say it hurts as such. Obviously, it only hurts when you're getting told maybe to look at other options. But if again, that could be another thing that gives you even more of a driving force to say no. I'm gonna prove you wrong. This is how I'm gonna do it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm still gonna do the things that you want me to do. You can still do it
Oh
all,
yeah.
and you
Oh
just
yeah.
find that driving force, that power, and just go get what you want to get. I know opportunities are going to present themselves for you. Everything happens in the right time. Some things may not happen. Some things may not go the way that you want them to go in this moment, but 2-3 years or later on down the line, you'll be able to look back and think, you know what, I was so grateful that guy gave me those fraudulent documents. I'm so grateful for those bad things that happened, because it's the making of who you are destined to become. And
I
yeah,
I agree. I, you know, right now I'm getting to a point where sometimes I do say exactly what you said. I do say, if that did not happen, this wouldn't be happening. And
of course.
the most important thing of all those things, the most important thing is that I've become mentally tough. Like I now no longer wait for things to happen. I go and make them happen. You know, like now, you know, a lot of people. This was how and why you got in touch with me. A lot of people say, I want to do this. God, please help me do this. But now I'm at a different place where I say, I want to do this and I will do it.
Hmm.
I will do it, you know? And the voice I use, the reason why I'm not pleading with God for this is because the voice I use, I was created in God's image, right? So the voice I use when I'm creating, it's a godly voice that's speaking. And that's something I've found from being here. Something I've found from hitting rock bottom, you know? You gotta go down there. Go down to rock bottom and see what you find. And I found this. That's what I've found. And my heritage, my ancestry, they knew that. They knew. But over time it was lost. Anyway, sorry, you wanted to say something, Julio.
No, you carry on, please. I don't think it was important what I wanted to say. In fact, I've probably even forgotten what I was gonna say, what I was gonna ask. But I'm listening, Lewis. Yeah, you know, you've got very wise words. Please share your wisdom. Keep spilling your
Hey,
wisdom.
I am 26. I am 26. Wisdom is knowledge applied. I haven't had that much
Yes.
time on this planet to have tested all my knowledge. So I'm sharing knowledge, not wisdom with you, buddy. It's
Thank you
the
for that.
knowledge that I've
Thank you
got.
for correcting me. I am humbled. I am humbled, Lewis. So
So,
what's sorry. What's
yeah, go ahead.
what are you like for traveling out of the country? Do you have to apply for visas and stuff because you have a Zimbabwean passport? Yeah.
I do, yes.
Mm.
I do have a Zimbabwean passport. So, Julio, I've tried. I've tried leaving this country. I tried applying for the visa, and not for the visa, for visas, and they were denied.
Mm.
The system says your visa was denied because of this, because of that, but the voice within says my visas were denied because my mission here was not done yet.
Mm.
People out there, they won't understand this. They won't get it. But my visas and my travels were delayed, just like I was brought back here to Zimbabwe because my work here was not done yet. But now I can feel that my time here is almost up,
Mm.
you know? And how do I know? The call. When the call comes, you guys will call for me. I'm not gonna chase after places anymore, traveling and stuff. I'm gonna focus on being the best version of myself, being successful here, accomplishing my goals here. And you guys are gonna call me. You're gonna summon me to the States. You're gonna summon me to UAE. You're gonna summon me to the UK. You're gonna summon me all over the world. That is what is going to happen, Julio. So my time was not ready yet. It is almost time for me. And I know I'm going to sit here, keep working hard, and you will summon me. I know. I know you will.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way too. I feel the exact same way. And your outlook and the way you're handling it and just focusing on yourself, just getting yourself better each and every day, that's all you can do. And let your actions speak louder than words. Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Let that
and,
not
and,
turn
and
that knowledge into wisdom.
oh, yes, with time. And you know what? When you guys finally do look this way, you will find more of me. You will find me, Louis Mataya. You will find me in another person, another body. You know, you will find the energy that I bring in me. You will find the energy that I bring in my students. I think that's what Musikavanhu, Mwari, the creator. I think that's why he wanted me to come back here to Zimbabwe. It was so I could share more of what I have, more of my energy, more of Coach Steve's skills, more of Coach Matt Thornton's skills, so I can share them to a lot of people here in Zimbabwe, get them going, and then travel. And who knows? Who knows? There's this one guy in the gym, man, he always gives me a hard time in the gym. I see a lot of myself in him, because you know how it is. Love. What is love? Love is giving. You give, you love. You give a person, you've invested a bit of yourself in that person. You love that person. You love yourself. You love the you that is in that person. I love my students. I give them my energy. I give them my skills. And I do see myself in them. And some of the people that I see here, trust me, they scare me.
Mm.
You know? And I mean this. Like, you come in today, you get him with a move. He comes tomorrow. You try the same move on him. It's not working. And the next day, he's getting you with the same move. I do
Right.
see that.
Yeah, you've got, I sense it, just great responsibility in your life, you know, and you're doing amazing work for these people. You are paving the way for them. Keep doing what you're doing, and I want to see that world championship belt. Like you said, but you just keep doing what you're doing, and you will get summoned. I'm so in awe with your story and your outlook to life, and I'm so 100% positive that this podcast will reach the people that need to see it and hear it, and you're gonna
Dana,
inspire them.
Dana, check out my podcast, Dana. Dana, how's the energy? This is UFC energy, is it not, Dana? It is, isn't it? Yes. You're gonna see me in the UFC, Dana White.
So, Lewis, who's this? I've not really been following much of the UFC recently, but I
Yes,
do follow your page. Who is this Zimbabwean who's gone over to the UFC?
the man, Temba Gorimbo.
Hmm.
Temba, the answer Gorimbo. That's the dude. The first ever Zimbabwean to join, to
UFC.
fight in the UFC.
Viva
Temba.
Zimbabwe!
Viva Zimbabwe!
Viva Kumusha!
Amen! Kumatsu. What's the word in Ndebele? Ekaya. Ekaya.
Ekaya. Let's pume
Ekaya.
Ekaya. Let's pume Kasi, Jag.
Temba, he's I've met him a few times, and man, that guy is aggressive when it comes to getting what he wants.
Mm.
When it comes to he takes charge of his life. Like getting to the UFC, it wasn't one of those. It wasn't a fluke. He made it happen, and he's not. Yeah, he's just way too much energy, man. Temba is something else. He's something else.
Was he training in South Africa then?
He was, yes. So, like me, he illegally traveled to South Africa back in the day. He's open about it. He's been on podcasts about it. For me, I wouldn't say I traveled to South Africa, but I was scammed, which made it illegal. You know, all that kind. Temba traveled to South Africa without even a passport, and he traveled there, trained for years, fought, got the call to the UFC, went to the UFC, traveled to the States, and man, everything that has happened, he's got a story. He's got a big story, Temba.
Mm.
This is my podcast. I want to talk about Temba, but I have to say, if you have any questions about Temba, not you, the viewers, go ask Temba.
Yeah,
How
of course.
Temba does how many podcasts per day? I don't even know. I get one. Temba, sorry, bro. I'm gonna talk about me, about Lewis, the porcupine, Mataya.
The porcupine.
Did you see that? Did you see it?
No.
Ever since you mentioned Temba, my energy levels just went up. Like I got hyper.
Yes, and you have to have, inspired to be inspired. We feed off each other. It's that energy exchange.
Yes.
And the reason why I brought him up was just to see how you get inspiration from him, and we will definitely can all get inspiration from that guy. And whatever you want in life, you can't just pray and say, please give me this. You have to go and get it. You have to take action. And it's not easy. And the road is long. People don't see the work that goes on behind closed doors. They only see you when you've made it to be a success, but they don't know how many times you failed to get to that success.
Yes. Oh man, that is true. I always say this. Temba, he's got quite a few young guys under him, guys from Zambia, Nigeria, and his home country, Zimbabwe, guys that look up to him, guys that aspire to be like Temba. Oh no, not to be like Temba, but to get to where Temba is
Plus
and to
more
exceed where he is.
to
So
emulate
I
him.
don't want to be like Temba. I'll never be like Temba. But I want to get where he got. That's the thing. That's the inspiration I take from Temba. So Temba has these young guys that he trained with them before he was in the UFC. He was training with Ken, Humphrey, Godwin. I see that happening with me. I'm training these young guys, and they're helping me get up there.
Mhm.
So I'm more to them what Temba is to me. You get it? That inspiration. So
Inspired to
that
be inspired.
exactly. And that inspires me to get ahead, you know? Like
Mm.
imagine how happy my boys will be when I get to where Temba is, when I get to the UFC, when I'm fighting on the world stage. Imagine how inspired my boys will be and
They'll
how
be
hard they will
so
work.
invigorated to do more
You
and
see?
give more. It's like a domino effect.
Yes. And you know what else? During Christmas, I was having a tough time. I was broke. I was
Hey,
super broke. And from nowhere, Temba just said, "Hey bro, I'm sending you 150 US dollars via Western Union." I was like, thank you, Temba, thank you, Lord. I was penniless in my house, and Temba from nowhere just said that. So these guys, I assist them with their starting recently. I assist them with their rentals. Like some of the boys, like I said, they come from far and they want to come train, so they cannot afford the money to train. Get places nearby, and I assist with their rent. Some of them who come from a distance, I would assist with their, like from my own pocket. I'll assist them with the boys with transportation money.
Mm.
I'll assist them with transportation money and equipment and all that. I train them for free. They do not pay me a penny. Temba used to do that to those guys. You know, I don't do it because that's what Temba does. I do it because I want to do it. You know, I want to assist the young guys. I want to make sure they succeed because selfishly, it's part of my legacy as well. You know, like when those young guys succeed, this is me selfishly speaking. When those young guys succeed, I'm going to be proud of them. Like, I trained those guys. I accommodated them. Man, I'm proud of myself. Whatever the world will say, it's none of my business. I do not care what the world will say. But what I'm gonna feel when I see them succeeding. And that's what Temba does to Ken, to Humphrey, to Godwin, and to me. That's what Temba does.
Wow. I'm so really feeling every single word you're saying deep down in my heart, Lewis. You are so inspiring. I cannot say that enough. For a young man,
Thank you.
26 of age, and I feel so. I'm also very proud of myself that I could I'm a Simon Cowell, that I see something in somebody, and I'm so happy that I've created this platform to inspire and be inspired, and also let people. You've got a lot to say. You have, and I was so right in my intuition. I listened to that voice within that said, "Now is the time you reach out to Lewis. He has something to say that the world needs to hear. We need more people like you. We need not just more people like you, but people all around the world have got lots of money sat in their pockets, not doing anything, we need that inspiration and support from people like that to make it possible for doing the good things that you're doing. And
Amen.
God willing, you are going to get summoned. Not God willing, you are going to get summoned. We just thank God for this opportunity that we can connect like this and speak so freely and from the heart. And I'm really inspired myself. I used to be a fighter, but I was fighting for the wrong reasons. And
Wow.
I had my fair share because that's why I talked about Carl Tanswell saying that sometimes fighting is not for everybody. You know, I used to go to the gym religiously,
Wow.
training with the pro fighters, and yeah, and you know what? I'm so blessed to have been to be a part of a community like that, because Carl Tanswell made us boys. He turned us into men. I
Yes.
was a boy when I first went to SBG, and I got humbled, and I grew, and I grew. And when he also mentioned that, you know, sometimes fighting is not for everyone, you know, it hurt me a little bit. But then it made me self-reflect, and fighting, yes, it's not for everyone, but it gave me an opportunity to step up as a man.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
To
Oh
step up,
yeah.
and I'm so deeply humbled and grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this. Otherwise, I don't know where my life would be if I didn't um, come across SBG. I hmm.
Why were you fighting? Just a quick one.
Oh yeah, so I was fighting for the total wrong reasons. It was just purely for show, to show people. It was, how can I explain this? I was doing it for the status rather than personal development, personal gain, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually. I was doing it so that I could show people, yeah, I'm a fighter, and I walk around like with a big head. So I got humbled, and it made me question a lot about myself. And I'm so grateful. You know, it's funny because my boxing coach, before I ever started MMA, he said to me, "I don't think you should be fighting. You've got a good head. You've got a good head on your shoulders. You do all these businesses, and I've been trial and error with lots of different businesses because I was supposed to turn professional in boxing in 2010. 2010.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
I felt so untouchable. This was before I even got into MMA. My boxing was on point. I was training for a good nearly 3 years without fighting, and one-on-one sessions with my boxing coach. And I'm so grateful for this guy, Nick Manners. He was also he was not mastering his craft, but he didn't have a gym at the time, and I used to go see him every morning, and we'd go on the pads, and he'd doing the drills, every single day, chipping away. And I got to a level in boxing where I was so untouchable. My head movement, my footwork, I was untouchable. I felt so great and comfortable in the ring. I was that's how I felt. And then obviously, not obviously, but I was doing things on the side that I shouldn't have been doing. And then I ended up going to prison, and he didn't even know. And it was a surprise
Oh.
to him. So when I came out of prison in 2012, it's like the love was there, but my drive wasn't the same no more. And I tried to go back boxing, after being in prison for about 2 years. I tried to go back boxing again, but then trying to catch up because I put on a lot of weight. And then I felt demoralized because I wasn't
Whoa,
where I
whoa,
used to
whoa,
be.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Who puts on weight in prison?
Hey,
What kind of prisons do you have there in the UK?
they just keep feeding you bread, lots of bread. And I just ate lots of food. They give you potatoes. Everything is just starch, high calorie carbs, and saturated fat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I came out of prison, I was overweight, and I felt demoralized because I wasn't where I used to be. And I was like, I used to be better than this. And Anyway, I just thought, you know what? And then something happened because I was dabbling in a lot of things that I shouldn't be doing, and all of a sudden, I'm involved in the streets, and there's wars going on between people and robberies happening. And one day I decided, enough is enough. I gave up my house in Leeds, and then the following week I was living in Manchester on my friend's floor. And then I just went to an MMA gym, and I said, look, I'm going to start doing MMA. And I went to SBG, and then the rest was history. And I really developed into a man over there with all the with all my teammates. And yeah, unfortunately, Carl passed away, but that always stuck in my head about not everybody who comes to the gym is going to be a fighter. And when I was fighting for the wrong reasons, just instead of like some of the MMA fights that I had, Carl, you can hear Carl in the background. They're on YouTube. Take him down. I should have been using my jiu-jitsu, but I wanted to win in style, because that's why I was fighting, just for the reels, those knockout reels and stuff like that. But
Oh, yeah.
instead of taking it serious, like this is a serious game, I was fighting for the wrong reasons. And there was a fight of mine in 2017, and I got like an Anderson Silva kick to the face, douche, teep,
Oh,
boom, and
oh, wow.
yeah, and I was out cold, night, nigga, I was
Uh,
gone. And my opponent followed up with three big blows whilst
oh,
I was unconscious on the floor.
no.
I literally face hit the canvas first. Um,
Oh,
but you know what though? That was really character building, really, because I do not regret it, because we go into this game, anything can happen. But if your head is not in the
mm,
right place, and you're disrespecting the sport, I wouldn't say I disrespected the sport, because I respected the sport, but I was doing it for the wrong reasons. You know, in this game, you will get humbled. You will get humbled if you're not in line with yourself and taking it serious, which I didn't take it serious, because I was smoking weed on the side, and there was only one fight I ever took seriously, and was a comeback fight after my knockout. And then I thought, let me take this serious. So I never smoked at all. So for the whole fight camp, I felt good. Even at the end of the fight, after 3 rounds, I think I was being a bit too cautious, but I went the distance. Following a knockout, you're gonna be cautious. So I
oh,
went the
yeah.
distance, but I lost by decision. But I was so happy with my performance. And then life happened. I went to prison again. Um, but yeah, I was fighting
Mm.
for the wrong reasons. Fighting for the wrong reasons. But I've met some really good guys, and yeah, jiu-jitsu is what I'm doing now, and just stay doing jiu-jitsu, the humble arts.
I think I always tell people, that when I'm done fighting, when I retire as a fighter, I'm gonna be doing jujitsu almost daily,
Yeah.
weightlifting. In terms of fitness and martial arts, I'm gonna be doing jujitsu, weightlifting consistently. Other stuff like boxing,
Mm,
taekwondo, MMA, sparring,
mm,
yeah, I'll still do, but not as consistently as I'll do jiu-jitsu and weightlifting. So I think you're on the right path there, buddy.
mm.
You cannot go wrong with jiu-jitsu.
No,
You
no,
cannot.
no. Mm,
You cannot.
mm,
So yeah, that's quite interesting. That's quite an interesting life story. And I do think fighting is for me. And I also have to agree that it's not for everyone.
mm,
It's not for everyone. Right now as we speak, I have an opportunity. I have opportunities to get into many other businesses that could make me a lot of money. like a lot of money, but I can feel something in me saying, dude, go for this. Just do martial arts, fight. Because you can create so much more. Then after
And,
fighting, you do many other things.
and you are, Lewis. You are. You know, for your age, it's very inspiring. I like to hear young guys like yourself doing really great. Like I think I've found my purpose in life. All the experiences that I've had leading up to this day right now, now I'm in a position where I can give back and offer guidance and
Yes.
support, you know, for young
Yeah.
budding stars like yourself, and just to inspire. And I'm feeling inspired. The amount of times I use that word, I should just have it written down somewhere. Inspired to be inspired. Yeah. So I'm grateful for my life right now, and I'm just listening. I've found stillness to be able to listen to that voice within, to get guidance and what to do. And I found my passion.
It's important.
I like writing, and I like connecting with people and communicating.
Man, dude, those are according to Coach Steve. Again, it's not me, according to Coach Steve. Those are two of the most powerful tools to self-growth.
Mm.
Engaging in conversations and writing.
Reflecting as well, writing, self-reflection.
Exactly.
Mm.
That's important. That
Mm.
that is very important. And man, you're doing a really good job. Doing a
Yeah.
really good job.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. You know, my last prison sentence, I actually wrote a book, which I'm now feeling very inspired to publish it now. Yeah,
Really?
I wrote a book. I love writing. You know, considering where I've come from, where I've been, the things that I've done, to the position that I'm in right now, I'm just so grateful because I can feel like my life has turned. I was a naughty boy, you know. You can tell. Yeah, I'm Karad. These colored owns, you know how they do. That was me. It's in my blood, you know, with different lineages in my ancestral background, and yeah, I
Yeah,
was a
that's a question. Can you share
confused
with
and
me some of that?
angry. Yeah, so
Some
my
of your
mom.
heritage.
Yeah, so my mom is Zimbabwean. She's Ndebele. Um, you know, she's a Ngube, so descendant from Zulu tribe.
No, really?
Yeah, she's a Ngube. Yeah. So I
Wow.
grew
My,
I
my,
grew
my granny my granny was also a Ngube in
Ngube.
Lower Guero. Yeah, Lower Guero.
Oh, Guero. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
got a lot of connections to Guero as well.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So we might be related, dude.
It's a small world, you know, Lewis. It's a small world.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
we don't cross paths for no reason. Like I don't believe in coincidences and chances. I believe it's all written in the stars before we even got here. And you know,
Amen.
mm,
Amen to that. Amen.
mm.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were
No,
speaking
don't worry.
about your mom, Ngube.
Yeah, Ngube. Yeah, so yeah, I've mostly been. I grew up from. I've been taught mostly by my mum's side of the family. My dad, he was Italian, but I never really got to spend too much time with my dad's side of the family. So most of my influence is from my mom's side of the family. You know, I lived in Bulawayo, Guabalanda, and Mataya. So I know my roots and Debele. Um, yeah, so that's mainly my heritage, and obviously with having an Italian background as well, which makes me mixed. I grew up a bit angry and just very violent and naughty, and I'm really, you know, I wouldn't say I regret the things that I've done, but um, it's made me who I am
It
today,
made you the person you are.
yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I've come out on the other side without anybody getting really badly injured, and yeah, so I'm now in a
But some
position
people
where,
were punched in the face, weren't they?
ooh, more than punched in the face, more than punched in the face, more
So,
than that. Even to the point of people getting shot and guns involved. You know, I've got a very interesting podcast coming up in the next few weeks, which you'll be drawn to it by the title, because I'm making amends with my past, and I'm putting the past to bed. A lot of people have been traumatized and have been traumatized with what we used to do, but I didn't realize it. But I'm giving back. I'm in a position now where I'm making amends, because the past needs to get put to bed. We can't always be going to sleep with one eye open, wondering who's going to be knocking on your door. So more of that to come as I dig deep.
Oh, it's also a good thing that you're sharing it, because a story shared, the actual quote goes something like, a problem shared is a
Is it
problem
probably
halved.
half solved?
But I don't want to say problem, because it's your past. It's not a problem.
Yeah,
It's your
it's not a
past.
problem. Yeah.
I think by sharing it, you kind of ease the load that you carry. I find the same thing with myself as well. Here's the thing that I find interesting. Some people are just plain and uninteresting. I think people like me and you, yeah, we should tell our stories more often. People who have gone through something, people who've overcome, anger and stuff like that. People who've overcome adversity thrown at our way by life. I think not having that in life is by itself a problem, to be honest. Not having overcome something.
Yeah, everyone has a story in life. Everyone, I believe so. Every single person has a unique story, and this is why I've created this platform, because I believe in sharing, because we can learn from what other people go through. And I think this is what's missing, especially in this Western society right now, Lewis, is that they've missed. It's like the art of storytelling is missing. To guide young children, to give them a moral compass, and an idea and a self identity of where they've come from and who they are. And right now, it's just, maybe it's what I'm exposed to as well, is that some young children growing up, they don't know their history of where their family background, which makes them confused, and they don't know where they're going in life. So
Yeah.
sharing stories will help people, guide them, and give them a brief taste of history, his story, and then
Yes,
they can
yes,
make up
yes.
their story for themselves.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you there, Julio. I do.
This is yeah.
When my mom was alive, I think it's part of why I've got such an active imagination. Like I said, at some point we used VCR. At some point we used DVDs. At some point we didn't even have any of that. No radio at home, no TV, no phones, nothing. Kumusha in the rural areas. You know how we entertained ourselves. Our mom at night would sit us all around the fireplace, and she would tell stories. Man,
I remember that
that was
as well.
yeah, that was beautiful. I'm not sure what you call it in Jebele, but in Shona we call them ngano stories. Stories.
I don't know what I call it in Ndebele, but yeah, with no electricity, but you got your candles
No, yes,
in your little shelters with the mud huts, and yeah.
exactly. Exactly. The thatched mud houses, or even sometimes outside the house in the open, make a big fire. We all sit around the fireplace. And my mom, she was the best storyteller ever. And each time she told a story, I would see it, I would feel it, I would smell all the smells in the story, all the sights. I would see the colors. everything. Whenever she told a story, she painted a picture in my mind. And up until now, I've never forgotten the stories which she told. She passed away when I was 7, but I still remember the stories that she told from when I was 5 years old, from when I was 6 years old. I still remember the stories and the whole vibe. And that, to be honest, I don't get that when I watch a Marvel movie. No, I do not. I get something different. I
And
mean it.
that is amazing how she inspires your imagination. I think what I'm seeing in this Western society is people are not using their imagination enough. Everything
No,
starts in your mind. You have to see a vision,
exactly.
live that
Exactly.
vision. Imagine the power of the imagination is really amazing. I actually sorry to cut you off. I actually started writing a children's book um, about trying to inspire kids to use their imagination more, because when I was a kid, I used to use my imagination so much, and I still do till this day. Your
Mm.
imagination, your mind is the most powerful tool that you have.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Mm.
And yes, I agree with you there. Imagine, you've seen those movies, those futuristic movies, right? Where they have the simulation room where they get to run simulations and shoot lasers and fight enemies and all that. And then they go
Yeah.
out into the real battle, where they fight. It's like we have that. We have that ability to run through different simulations in our minds until we
Yes.
find, or even when you have a thought, before you bring it into this world. No, I don't want to speak for you. I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
thought, before I bring out a thought into this world, before I verbalize it, I first run through it in my mind. Not all the time. Sometimes you just express yourself, right? But
Mm.
the self, sometimes, sit down for me and I run through my thoughts, my options. Like, all right, what if we were to do this? What if we were to do that? Okay, is this right? No. What if I try looking at it the other way? It's when you verbalize it, it loses meaning. But in here, when you really get it, in your
Mm.
in the mind, when you really get it, oh, too much energy. I'm geeking out again. It's happening. Is that does that. My mind does that, when I speak about things that I'm really passionate about, I get hyperactive, like way too much energy, way too much.
But that's the beauty of using your imagination, because it
Yeah.
you can never get bored. You should never get bored even when you're sat by yourself. This is where your
Hmm,
imagination comes into play, and you
that's
don't
it.
have to, but you find joy, in imagination. I do anyway. I find so much joy in imagination. I had something really great, an example to tell you, but it just slipped my mind. But maybe it's
you
not meant
you
to come
you
out
you were
now.
you were saying something about writing a book on imagination.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't along what I was gonna say there. I know you're trying to help me remind me what I was gonna say, but that might not work. It'll come to me when it does. Yeah, but yeah,
Okay.
the imagination, yeah, everything begins in the mind.
In your mind. And
Mm.
me personally, Julie, I see you're now a father. You have a little one.
Yeah,
Me
he's too.
me me personally, here's like I said, my mom developed my imagination through stories.
Mm.
And now kids, their imaginations are being developed differently through TikTok and Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. There's a difference. I cannot point at it, but there is a difference. If I say having my imagination developed through stories is better than having the new way that's happening, the TikTok, the Marvel movies, the DC movies, because, screens all the time. If I say that's wrong and stories that I was raised on are better, I wouldn't think that is right of me to say. But
Mm,
I can say it's different. That's what I can say.
mm. It's different, but
Maybe you can help me out here, Julio.
mm. But is it different in a good way or a bad way? What's your
That's the
take on it?
thing.
Mm,
That's the thing. I'm not the one to point out what's good and what's bad, because those concepts are a bit. It's gray. It's neither black nor white. It's gray. It's
yeah,
a
of course.
gray area.
I think it's not good or it's not bad, because I was actually thinking about
Yeah.
this yesterday. Funny you say this, because people they say, "Oh, scrolling is bad for you. It's bad for you," but we're doing what we're doing now, and we're going to be making reels out of it, and we're hoping that when
Yeah.
people are scrolling, they're going to see this. So,
There we go.
what's bad about scrolling? If what you're seeing, but then again, it's also up to you and what information you want to take in and what you want to
Yes,
ignore.
exactly. Me personally, I don't want to do it. I do it, but when I catch myself doing it, I say, nope, put my phone away. When
Mm,
I catch myself, I think that's what is wrong. That statement, like I said, when I catch myself doing it, when I open my eyes and find myself doing it, I think that's what is wrong with that. It's people doing it unconsciously, like you don't
ah,
realize you're doing it. I
mm, oh,
think that's what is
mm.
wrong.
Yeah, I was just gonna get to. I've just written it down. This is where discipline and the level of self-awareness comes in, because it's easy to just move through life unconsciously, just on
Yes.
just on autopilot. You wake up in the morning, you
Yeah,
make your cup of tea, you
yeah,
do that every day. You're coasting.
yes.
You're missing out. But then
You're
again, people,
drifting.
if yeah, but then again, each to their own, because the world wouldn't be as unique as it is if everybody, if everybody was the same. We need everybody's individuality and uniqueness, good and bad, high and low. That's what gives us the balance, the law of polarity. You got positive and negative. You got to
Yes.
experience the negative to appreciate the positive, and sometimes you do too much of the positive. Sometimes it's humbling to get to experience a negative. So it's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
again,
Oh yeah.
that level of self-awareness and discipline. It's something that can be learned, and all it takes is asking questions.
Yes.
Self-inquiry.
Oh yeah. Oh
Mm.
yeah. Oh yeah. I hear you there, and I agree with you. I do.
So jujitsu and fighting for me has is giving me that level of self-awareness and inquiry and humble, and it certainly has humbled me to inquire as well as yourself. So you tell me about how how jiu-jitsu has taught you, and how not how it's taught you, but what have you learned from jiu-jitsu that you apply to your day-to-day life, which is obviously, again, discipline and self-awareness goes without saying, but have
Go
you got
into
anything else?
go into the fight. That's what
Mm,
jiu-jitsu taught me. Go into the fight. Go into the fight and control it. Control the chaos. That's what Coach
mm,
Steve always says. Control the
mm,
chaos. My martial arts and my daily life have always been kind of like they've always had the same trajectory that they took. I
mm,
was raised without a father. I was raised on my mom's side. Like you, I was taught most of the time. I was raised by single mothers. And in the house, because you're raised. When my mom died, because my mom My mom was a very aggressive person. She couldn't stay with her husband. She was married 4 times and divorced 4 times because of how aggressive she was. She would literally kick my father and stepfather's butts, and until she got divorced. So I was raised by a single mom. She died when I was 7. I went to stay with my aunt and then my sister. My sister worked in the airport of Zimbabwe, and we stayed in an Air Force base where I later found Taekwondo. There was a heavy emphasis on discipline, discipline, doing the right thing at the right time. Whoa, I lost you for a bit there, Julia. I lost you completely.
I presume somebody's trying to call you again, Lewis. Oh, the joys. Oh, the joys. There's no need to buy any more data. You know what you can do, Lewis? Just if you just say a voice note, then we can just wrap things up. I know you were in the middle of telling me something, but we can always do a part 2. That's no problem. So if you just send a voice note just to wrap things up of where people can find you, and I will put the phone next to the microphone, and we'll just have to improvise and adapt to the situation. Let's do it, brother. Let's do it.
It's just so expensive, and you get a little bit for a lot of money. Also, power. Like you say, okay, I'll save on data, I'll buy Wi-Fi, but there's no power most of the time. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll just close up the show. Okay, I'll send another audio.
So due to complications with the data and the electricity in Zimbabwe, where Lewis is, unfortunately, we couldn't get to finish the podcast how we would like to finish it, but we're adapting to the situation. So he is going to leave me a voice note on my phone, which I'm going to play on the microphone, about where to find Lewis Mataya. And if you want to reach out to him and have any questions, please feel free to reach out to him.
Hey, Julio, thank you so much, man, for having me here. It's been so cool chatting with you, and to people around the world.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. And I promise you, I will be a world champion. I will be a world champion. And if you want to follow my story, if you want to see me grow to be a world champion, you can check out my social media on Instagram, Africa MMA Warrior, or you can search Louis Mataya still there on Instagram. And on Facebook, you can search Louis Mataya as well. Thank you, Julio. Cheers, man. Yeah, that's it. So I can do better if you want.
No, that's perfect. I'm still live right now, so I'm just gonna leave it there. So I will be able to put all your information in the show notes for anybody that wants to follow you, Lewis. And again, thank you. I'm so honored to have had you on. I look forward to watching you as you progress in your journey as well. We should definitely do another podcast whenever you feel is good. Yeah. we'll see what the future holds. But in the meantime, keep doing what you're doing. Stay strong, bro. One love. Viva Zimbabwe! Hey. And yes, we're done. What a beautiful guy. Very inspiring. I definitely took a lot from that. Lost my head a little bit at one point when I had such a good something. I know I had something really good to say, but it's totally slipped my mind. When I'm listening back to this episode, I know it's going to come back to me, and I'm just going to reach out to him and tell him whatever it was I was thinking about. But for now, peace and love. And thank you so much for everybody who watches the podcast. If you have any questions as well for myself, please don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, I look forward to the next episode as well. More to come. The Search for Meaning podcast. Love, peace, and guidance. Thank you all.